Premium Partners. Good to see you, Alpesh.
Good morning.
Good morning, Alpesh.
Go on, Miles, you can take this one away.
Yeah, let's start with this story in the US. Essentially, it's General Dempsey, who's the US's top military man in Iraq, and he's basically saying there's a possibility at some point that they're going to set up these, what they're describing as military bases, lily pads, which could be used as a base for training troops and so on. What do you make of this story?
Well, what's infuriating about this is it looks like the West is getting sucked in yet again into the Middle East, and we're never given any thanks for it. We're blamed for everything that's wrong in that region, and a hell of a lot's been wrong in that region well before the West even existed. There's a collection of ISIS psychopaths, and it's got nothing to do with us right at the moment. We need more of the regional powers like the Saudis and the Emiratis stepping up and putting their troops there so that the locals and the rest of the world can see, actually, we're not to blame for everything that's wrong in that region.
Well, there is a coalition at the moment with many of these Middle Eastern countries.
They need more people,
involved.
Clearly, because ISIS is well-funded, it's well able to execute its strategies, it's incredibly well-armed, and it's incredibly wealthy. And it's not going to go anywhere fast unless the regional powers who have been armed with planes and troops and everything else that you would want from the West, they actually start using some of those armaments.
But isn't the problem, some will say, that if West is in and there's killing, you kill one IS and you create another 10?
We're not creating them. These psychopaths have existed for a heck of a long time, not just in this region, in other parts. There used to be a bunch of psychopaths in Europe as well, a couple of hundred years ago as well. Okay. What's going to happen is, unless they solve the problem locally, the West getting involved is only going to mean that we become ever more indebted. We don't even have the money for this. We certainly don't have the appetite for it. And it's not in our interest, and it is in their local interest in that region, because it is their problem now.
Got you fired up. Wow, we like that. Okay, let's talk about Twitter. The boss. Was this coming, do you think? I mean, you know, there was a lot of pressure from investors. Twitter basically just wasn't growing enough, right, in terms of users.
He's managed to wipe off, what, double-digit amounts from their market cap. Why the heck do CEOs get to stay in highly paid jobs when they can't get the shareholder value of their company up? And it's not just Twitter. It happens in banking, happens right across the board. And we just sit and watch it as shareholders. It affects all of us because our pension funds are invested in this. There are a whole bunch of people who can't do their job. So one simple task, one simple ask, you're a multi-billion-dollar company with billions of pounds, dollars at your disposal, just increase the market cap. One task, you know, it's like saying to you, just talk to AutoCue. If you can't do your job, you get sacked.
AutoCue? What do you mean AutoCue? There's no AutoCue there. Listen, Alpesh, listen, I'm not using AutoCue now.
Investors obviously love the news.
Well, they love news because
their price went up.
But is the problem here, for example, I was looking at, being able to get the ad revenue, right? So Twitter's market share of the global ad market, if you will, is just a pinch under 2.5%.
Yeah.
You look at Facebook, 17.5%.
Well, isn't the problem they're not doing anything to entice people on? Like, you look at Facebook, there's always something new, isn't there?
Do you know what? If you were the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company, you would think there's only going to be a couple of little strategies you can use. It's only one website, for God's sake. It's not as if it's a multi-channel, incredibly complicated business with different types of media. It's one website. If you couldn't, with the billions of dollars, get all the experts in, the brains in, test it, and get an increase in your ad revenues, but instead you got the strategy just bang on wrong. And by the way, you're located in Silicon Valley, for God's sake. If you can't get it right there, then why have you been around for so long?
He's going to walk away with a pretty penny, I'm assuming. Should we move on?
Yeah, let's move on, because, you know, it couldn't be the news if we didn't have Greece in it.
This is a big thing, though.
It's not.
The IMF walking away? Is this just part of the...
I'll tell you why it's not.
They're just fed up with talks, is that
They're fed up with talks because, of course, it's a negotiation. So at some point, if you're Greek, you've got to push them to the limit. And that's fair enough. The reason I don't think it's a big story is because Greece is about the economic size of Washington State in the United States. If Washington State was near defunct, it would not be a story. For God's sake, California, the 4th largest economy in the world, has been near defunct for about 2 decades.
That's very true.
America marches on. We don't talk about it. The same with Greece. It doesn't matter. Okay,
but it does matter because it is part of this single currency, and people.
And then the single currency has been falling, which has been fantastic news. The Greeks have done us in Europe a huge favour because as the currency has fallen, the share price of European companies, the 500 largest European companies, has gone to all-time highs because their exports are cheaper. They're exporting around the world. We're more competitive than we've ever been because the currency has fallen thanks to the Greeks. In fact, if we just charged all those companies 0.5% of their revenue, we could pay
off their debt. Yeah.
Absolutely. We should be thanking them. Keep it going. Don't negotiate.
Did you hear that, Athens? You just keep negotiating. Don't give in.
It's funny you say that because Greece actually opened its state broadcaster yesterday after 2 years, and that obviously shows Cyprus' commitment to, get things back to what they used to be.
Yeah, absolutely, back to normality. In fact, what we should do is lend Greeks the money so they can buy Apple stock, not Twitter stock, Apple stock.
Yes.
The amount of revenue that company generates and pay for their debt.
Okay, actually, if we paid Greece a euro every time we talked about the Greek situation, then we'd be okay. Okay, we've got to quickly go on. What about this? Hang on, what are we up to? The Kit Kat one, aren't we? Yeah. But Toblerone apparently has protected the little trademark, its mountains.
The most famous one is Coca-Cola and the bottle. And funnily enough, you wouldn't associate the bottle necessarily. You'd think it's the whoosh sign and so on. The reason this is important, it's a bigger story about intellectual property. And the notion is that by protecting intellectual property, you help companies invest in innovation. Now, I'm sorry, but look, if you're a pharmaceutical company, fine, protect your intellectual property in Viagra or whatever else. But Kit Kat? Seriously? Cadbury's are not going to innovate some more? Our courts should not be filled up with confectioners complaining that 4 fingers as opposed to 2 fingers is more important. I say give 2 fingers to all of them.
Cadbury's tried to patent the colour purple. You know that purple wrapper?
Yeah.
That is a very special type of purple.
But you just took it off the screen. I was just pointing to the screen there because you can see a copy. And I don't know what country it's from, but up in the top corner, you can't see it now, but I think
there are rivals.
There it is. There we go. See there. Look at that. Rival, absolutely. 4-fingered. Anyway, quickly, the picnics, Miles. The picnics.
What is the key to a modern picnic, Aaron?
Weather.
Wine. A bottle of wine.
A bottle of wine. An iPad on a picnic. We've got 30 seconds.
I'll tell you what it is, and I've had 2 picnics in the last month. The secret to an amazing picnic is an amazing spouse. Simple as that.
Oh.
Okay? Simple as that.
Let me just get the bucket.
Is she watching?
Well, she'd be insane if she's watching at this hour.
Okay. Well, anyway. Alpesh, great stuff, mate. As always, we appreciate your time. Alpesh Patel. That's it.
That was fun.
We'll see you at the top of the hour. See you soon.